Hello, welcome to the final project for Programming for Game Engines. This project is going to be pretty much identical to the Project 4 video, but I will demonstrate once again the Rocket Jumpy Coin Finder Man game. So, as you can see, once I get in game, the character moves around using root motion. As well, I have weapons that I can pull out that will actually move along with the model. Using inverse kinematics to put the hands on the gun in the right place. As well, I have a UI displaying which weapon I'm carrying, how much ammo it's got. As you can see, that ammo pickup actually gives me multiple extra ammo. There's these coins lying around. Once I find 5 of them, I'll actually win. And since I've taken damage, as you can see by the health bar, I can grab this, get some more health. The enemies also have their own health bars and are chasing me around using the nav mesh, navigating throughout the map without my help. I can actually launch myself up into the air with rockets, which is very helpful for navigating around this extremely vertical map. As well, I do have a pause menu, so if you wanted to pause, you are able to do that. Just going to find all the coins real quick. Oops, I missed that rocket jump. Alright, let's see if we can get up here. Okay, there we go. Almost died there. Grab that health. Grab the coin. Alright, I suck. I'm gonna try not to die again, because these AI are incredibly aggressive, and they're going to kill me if I'm not careful. I think my safest bet is to just climb up here, and then drop down. The rocket jumping is a little difficult. Alright, once I get that, I get a good congratulations, and then I can exit the game, because I've demonstrated essentially everything that I have. I currently don't have a settings menu. There's no volume in the game, as there's no audio in the game. There were particle effects in it on the coins, but those were removed because they looked terrible. The only lighting in the game is on the coins. The game does run very smoothly, but I'm sure performance could be improved. A lot of the code was spaghetti code, so the performance is only working well because I have a nice computer, and I'm sure on a slower computer it could possibly run into issues. I'm going to put this build up as a public build. You should be able to download it and play it. And let's go ahead and look through the code, so see some more complicated things that I've worked on here. So one of the best things is actually the pawn. The pawn is extremely dynamic and can work very easily from multiple angles. So using the exact same pawn from both the player and the AI has things like take damage function, which will actually update the UI as well, which means that every pawn will have to have an attached UI slider. As well, they use root motion, so they actually will set their motion within the animator rather than just moving with a certain velocity. The character will also use inverse kinematics to try to put their hands on whatever weapon they have, and they actually can avoid death if you have invincible checked. It was a debug thing that was pretty nice, and actually could be used for a power-up if we wanted to add a power-up for that. The player controller basically handles everything to do with the player and how they actually control the game. So things like how when you sprint, what happens, how you control your speed, things like that, as well as doing the mouse view. You can actually right-click to aim down sights, which actually is a really nice feature because it slows you down enough to be accurate, as well as increasing your field of view to zoom you in. You also have the crosshair, which actually gets wider the faster your character's moving. So it's not entirely accurate to the actual spread of the weapon, but actually just more shows you how fast you're running. As well, you have the things like the UI with the text here, letting you know when you're reloading, things like that, as well as all your controls here. We have the enemy, which controls the actual enemy pawns. They basically just handle the nav mesh. They find a target and they actually just navigate towards it using the nav mesh, setting the same inputs that you would set on your character to actually move your character around. You also have things like the camera controller. This is actually one of my personal favorite things because it's one of the few things that isn't complete spaghetti code and actually has a lot of reuse potential. So the camera I actually built here is a regular good third-person camera that just has the ability to be customizable with sensitivity, as well as not being able to go through objects. So when you actually put your camera up against a wall or an object, it'll actually bump up against it instead of going through it, allowing you to basically never have problems with your camera getting blocked by objects. And the way it does that is it actually raycasts outward from the subject towards the camera's position, and it will determine if there's anything in the way. If not, it'll put it at the maximum distance that you set. If there is, it'll put it at that point. So my camera is definitely one of the things I'm more proud of among this. As well, when it came to the projectiles, they didn't work out as well as they could have. I think I would rewrite this in a very different way if I were to rewrite this. But I think the projectiles were still fairly reusable, having things like customizable speed, damage, and if they explode or not. Since this is a physics-based game and it was about rocket jumping, having that explodes tag makes making any new projectile easy, because you can basically just checkmark explodes, and then you could have, an automatic gun that shoots explosions. When it came to my explosions, they were pretty simple in the way that they actually displayed. The explosion was actually just a red circle that grew and then disappeared, and that's basically what this was. And upon spawning, it would check a certain area, and if any pawns were in that area, it would just damage them as well as apply physics to them. And the damage is actually based on distance. It's going to be 10 minus the distance between the two. So the less distance there is, the further away you are, the less damage you'll take. As well, in every single thing, you're going to have an if game manager is paused, because you want to check and make sure that the game can be paused in the middle of gameplay, and so there's nothing going to happen if you actually do pause the game. It'll freeze everything. As well, the power-ups are pretty standard. They basically just spawn, and they'll actually spin around and bob up and down in the air, and then they wait for a collision, and if they collide with a pawn, they'll actually just determine which type of power-up they are: heal, ammo, or coin. The coin is actually using the same power-up system. It's just a unique power-up that only counts towards your coin count instead of actually giving you a bonus, which is nice. I didn't have to actually make something new. I could just reuse something I've already built, which is a big part of developing in Unity in general, is just trying to make sure everything that you build has reuse potential. But yes, essentially that is what I've built for this project. Unfortunately, I did not meet all of the requirements necessary due to my own mismanagement of time, and hopefully next time I can actually do much better in that area and meet all of the requirements for every project that we come across. Thank you.